Hello, everybody. This is José Ignacio from the Uncomfortable Dialogues 2022. Today we have in the virtual studio Dax Moreno. Dax is a San Antonio native. He has been having leadership positions at tech organizations here in San Antonio as Rackspace, Pier 1 Hosting, Geekdom, and TechBlog. Dax is currently the founder and principal of Verity SA. So without any further ado, welcome to our Uncomfortable Dialogue 2022 virtual studio, Dax. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Jose. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Dax, last time we met, we were talking about the COVID as the number one crisis we're facing. Unfortunately, COVID is kind of gone, but we have major crises. So it seems to be that the crisis will continue to pop out here and there, but unfortunately, the crises are kind of every time bigger, or probably this seems to be totally unsolvable. So what is your take?
Yeah, Jose, it's interesting. I was talking to some friends about this, and one of the things that I kind of mentioned in a way is we're having to triage our crisis now, or the crises that seemingly are happening. And in order to, I think, do that for everyone's kind of mental capacities and just health and wellness overall, you can only focus on one or two things at a time while you're also focusing on the health and well-being of your family and friends and your career and the other things around you. So as COVID and as the Omicron have kind of started to kind of turn down and we saw some cases dip and things started happening, I think on a geopolitical scale, all of our attention just started collectively turning to that and going, okay, well, what is that? That's happening a world away. How can we help? What can we do here? What does that mean? It's been a really interesting couple of years. The thing that we were talking about in that stress triage is, do the things that we can to take care of ourselves here, making sure we're taking time for ourselves, not letting the weight, how enormous of an issue this could potentially be, really drive you into places or do things that have you stressed throughout your day.
So for me, the learning is that there is always a way out to solve any crisis. At the beginning, it seems to be unsolvable. But I do believe that if we just approach any crisis with this mindset, we will find ways to come out. Dax, let's change subject a little bit. I am so happy that you are with us today because you are truly the perfect leader to help us understand how come San Antonio is becoming a digital ecosystem in the state of Texas. So I was wondering if you can walk us through the process where we started in San Antonio, and importantly, how the digital economy is helping San Antonians to face the current adversity.
Yeah, Jose, that's a great question, and again, I'm really excited to be on here and chatting with you about this. I'll actually go back to a conversation that I had about a year and a half ago with Julian Castro. It was an interview for my podcast and during San Antonio Startup Week. And we were basically revisiting what we call here in San Antonio the decade of downtown. San Antonio has always been a military city, hospitality oriented, and we've had some advanced manufacturing capabilities. We've had a lot of Air Force bases, hence the military moniker, Military City USA, which has been trademarked. But Julian, when he was mayor, saw something a little bit different. He saw the rise of the knowledge worker and what that was going to mean for the future of the economy in the U.S. overall and also the world. And he knew that San Antonio had a place for it. So what he started doing was, right, if we can start collectively redeveloping our efforts or creating a space and an environment where the technologists, the entrepreneurs, and all of the other kinds of people that were seeding a digital economy and digital ecosystem in other cities and states, where we could get them to gather here in San Antonio, not have them so far spread out, we might be able to unlock something. And that was the decade of downtown. And he partnered with a couple of really great city leaders in San Antonio to help invest and fund some of that urban redevelopment. And some really great spaces came out of that. We had a startup space downtown that's called Geekdom, where a lot of startup incubation happens. People can go and co-work there. But more important, happy collisions between ideators with technologists and software developers can collide and business ideas can start forming. And then the other thing that kind of spun off was some of these larger ideas that were a little bit longer bets. And one of those is Port San Antonio, which was the former Kelly Air Force Base, which was a little bit outside of downtown, but definitely in the realm of how do we create environments where people can be drawn together, work together, collaborate, all the right kinds of people that are working in a digital economy go, hey, there's something cool happening there. I want to go be a part of it. I'm kind of tired of my corporate job. Let me go freelance. Let me go build something new. Let me go create. And what Mayor Castro did was he provided so much of that groundswell of activity, environment, and honestly, enthusiasm behind an idea of forming a tech ecosystem in a space in San Antonio. When we get density, man, special things happen. It has sparked innovations in our entrepreneurial ecosystem. It has led to the development of more funders coming to San Antonio, venture capitalists, people like that, angel investors. But the biggest thing overall is I think it has unlocked the dreams of San Antonio citizens. They now understand that there is a future in technology, period, in San Antonio. And in the past, it was either military, hospitality, or working with one of our largest corporate providers here, or getting out of the city.
Yeah.
I spent a couple of years in Los Angeles. It was wonderful working at a tech company, but I came back after I did my work there and helped them, kind of mission accomplish their acquisition. I came back to San Antonio because I knew that something special was being built, a new foundation was being laid, and I wanted to ensure that I was a part of someone that was putting a brick down for everyone else to build on.
Hey, Dax, I know that you have impressive track record supporting promising digital startups here in San Antonio. Now, in your opinion, what are the 2 or 3 unsolved issues that everybody is still facing?
Jose, when you say that, it makes me think of one of the values of the Uncomfortable CEOs, the facing reality. And that is something that I really, really work hard to embrace. I'm a dreamer and an ideator, and I like to see the best and hope for the best in everyone and every opportunity. But over the years, I've learned to ground myself in reality. And from a reality standpoint, as we are undergoing this transition in San Antonio and building a digital economy and a digital ecosystem, there are just some truths that have emerged. And these are the biggest challenges that we have to overcome. And as I mentioned before, we're attracting some venture capitalists, but we're not attracting enough. So what we really do not lack are the ideas or the talent of people to do some of that work and build the startups. What we lack is the thrust to accelerate those ideas and those businesses to the next level of scalability. So right now, there's been a couple of VCs that have done very well for themselves, making bets on San Antonio companies. And what I would love to see is more competition come out for them. We have some wonderful, talented people that are building things in San Antonio, and I'd love to see them be able to continue that growth trajectory here in SA rather than having to go to Austin or Dallas or New York or San Francisco.
Or Silicon Valley, yes.
Exactly,
Valley,
exactly. Yeah. So I think there's a dearth of investors. So anybody listening that's looking for their next target, San Antonio is a great place. You could come in and make some waves and make some really great investments. And the second thing that goes along with that is we also have a need for more experienced and mature leaders. We have a wonderful enthusiasm in our leadership in our community. We have belief. We have a strong capability of going and fighting and gritting our teeth to get things done. But what we lack is experience. And in some cases, that nuance of knowing how to do a thing the right way versus just getting the thing done. And that can be limiting in terms of our growth potential. So for us, and when I look at that, I'd love to see more experienced leaders and entrepreneurs, be welcomed into our ecosystem or find our ecosystem, because again, there is so much talent, there's so much enthusiasm. We are nutrient rich for growth. We just need a couple of little stronger seeds. If they came here with those ideas, I think some really awesome stuff could happen for them.
Awesome. Excellent. I love it. Hey, Dax, as you know, we're running out of time. And I have one final question before we close this conversation. So 3 years ago, you were part of the 40 under 40 by the San Antonio Business Journal. And in that process, you made a personal pledge. And you said, I will be working closely with the leaders of the city, both private and public, in building programs that will help better prepare our students for better career opportunities in San Antonio. So the question to you is, how are you doing? Are you fulfilling that pledge from 3 years ago?
Man, you did your research, Jose, and I'm glad there's some accountability there, and absolutely yes. The education of students to opportunity is really what drives me, and the access to opportunity in San Antonio. And I have done some work with Promesa Academy Charter School. I've been a board chair, and we basically opened and built a brand new elementary school in the San Antonio's west side, and actually our most socioeconomically disparate, one of the top 5 poorest zip codes in the US. We attracted some amazing teachers. We have an amazing superintendent and principal. This is about starting those dreams and understandings of opportunities much younger in their life cycle. To me, one of the most exciting outgrowths of that I love sharing with people is I just had an interview last week with Jim Perschbach, who's the CEO of Port San Antonio. And Port San Antonio is, as I mentioned before, the revitalized Kelly Air Force Base, reimagined as this really wonderful destination for advanced manufacturing. They've got robotics. They've got an esports arena that they are building, a science and technology museum that's going to be in that arena. This is going to be opening in, a matter of months. So if you visit San Antonio in the summer, you're going to be able to go and check this place out. And Jim was just talking about the intersection of community with space. And that's really what San Antonio is all about right now. And I think that's the thing I've been most proud of is I am really, really passionate about introducing people to their potential of the life or career that they can have inside of San Antonio at places like Port San Antonio, at places like Geekdom in downtown San Antonio, or in any of the other number of places that we have that are communities that are building people, building scenes, and creating this amazing city that I wouldn't not have been able to imagine when I was before I left here almost 10 years ago to LA. So yeah, I've been trying my best to adhere to it, and I'll continuously, especially since you found it on the internet there in your research, make sure I'm doing my work on it and holding up my end of the bargain.
Absolutely. Great. Hey, thank you very much for the time. It's really a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. And for everybody else, if you want to know more about Dax or all his phenomenal work here in San Antonio, just write it down here in LinkedIn and YouTube, and we'll get back to you.
Thanks, Jose.